Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video on the Darts World channel. Now, many of you would have already seen that Leighton Bennett, a PDC tour card holder and Wonder Kid, has been suspended from DRA events after allegedly match fixing on the Modus Super Series. Now I've gone back, looked at the games and numbers and also found what Leighton had to say for himself around the time of the game. So let's take a deep dive into the biggest incident in one of the most controversial players' careers. Ahead of his first Super Series campaign getting underway, Leighton tweeted saying that he'd been buzzing since he'd woken up and that he was really looking forward to it. He also thanked his sponsors and said that without them he wouldn't have been there. When Group A got started, things went very badly for him and he only managed to win 2 of his first 10 games across the first 2 sessions, and he hadn't managed to force a deciding 7th leg in any of his 8 losses. That meant he headed into the final Group A session, bottom of the table, with just 4 points and a leg difference of -20, making it very hard, some would say impossible probably, for him to secure a spot in finals night from the group. On Twitter, he said that it was time to get his head back in it and crack on the final day of Group A to set himself up for a positive Group C, showing how he was resigned to the fact that he had no chance of qualifying for finals night on that day. He then started day 3 with a poor performance, averaging just 75 in a 4-1 loss against Lithuania's Mindaugas Barauskas. In that game, Leighton hit just 1 of his 10 attempts at double. His average then improved to 81 in his next game, which was against Denmark's Benjamin Drew Roost, but Leighton failed to pick up a leg and was whitewashed after missing all 5 of his attempts at double. Across those first 2 games, there were some very suspicious misses from Leighton, and both of those matches are listed as having had suspicious betting patterns indicating match fixing, as highlighted by the International Betting Integrity Association. Bennett finished the day with 2 wins in his next 3 games, which came in his final 2 matches, meaning that he finished Group A bottom of the table with just 4 wins from 15 games and a shocking leg difference of -24. After that session, Leighton said he was happy with how he'd played on the day and that it was just his doubles that had let him down in the first 3 games, and that he was now looking forward to Group C as all the players would start from 0 again. He added that the other players had been helping him to feel better in the back room. Leighton then began Group C with 5 straight losses without taking a single game to a deciding leg. That meant that halfway through the group he sat bottom of the table again, this time with 0 points and a leg difference of -14 from just 5 games. It was looking impossible for him to qualify again, and things got even worse in the second Group C session as he began it with a 4-1 loss against Brian Harrington, in which he averaged just 67 and missed a shocking 19 darts at double. That game featured many suspicious misses which have been shared widely on social media. In the next game, he improved ever so slightly to average 72, but he only got 3 darts at double, all of which he missed in a whitewash loss against Barauskas. Those first 2 games were also reported as having had suspicious betting patterns, along with the first 2 from a few days earlier. Leighton ended Group C with just 1 win, which came in his final game against Joe Croft. That meant he finished bottom of the table again with just 1 win from 10 games and a leg difference of -23. Leighton's time at the Super Series was now over, and some fans watching back then had been suspicious of his play and form. Things were then quiet around Leighton until he surprisingly managed to win a tour card at Q School at the start of this year. After winning that, an anonymous account tweeted saying that people were wrong to be praising him at the time and something was due to come out. The same account said that Leighton didn't have his phone at Q School and instead had to use his manager's, likely because it was taken, as he had made it seem as if Leighton's phone was being used in an investigation. Now we know what that likely was. Leighton was also in the news around the start of the year for an unrelated incident where he threw his darts at his case in rage after a loss on the development tour, causing them to fly around the venue. That led Leighton to be fined and banned from the next event on the tour. Some Snapchat videos also emerged, apparently from Josh Rock's story, that let's just say didn't portray Leighton in a good way. In June, his management parted ways with him and in a statement said that they hoped he could continue his darts career providing he was not found guilty of allegations which we now know to be about match fixing. The DRA statement said that a thorough investigation has taken place, meaning that a ban, potentially for several years, is highly likely. Billy Warriner, another development tour player who Leighton potentially worked alongside, has also been suspended for the incident. If we take a look at some similar cases, Wessel Nyman and Carl McKinstry received 5-year and 8-year bans respectively for fixing in a webcam modus event during lockdown. Nyman had his ban halved after cooperating with the investigation. Jack Main is also currently serving a 2-year ban for fixing in a Super Series game against Lisa Ashton. So we can expect a similar ban to those, but we just need to wait and see, as the DRA might not be as lenient with Leighton due to his past. The DRA have been criticised for their slow investigation, as the statement explains that the games were flagged as suspicious around the time they took place in September of last year. If we take a look at a slightly different incident, the one involving the video of Adam Smith-Neal punching an opponent in a pub event. This came out in March, and it took the DRA until July to announce that he'd been suspended for 8 months. Now, this was probably a lot easier to investigate as there was clear video evidence. So why did it take so long? Whilst this investigation was likely a lot more complex, they could have surely stopped him from being at Q School in January, therefore preventing him from picking up a tour card and blocking another player from being on the tour full time. The Super Series also released a statement in response to the incident. They said, Modus Super Series is aware of the decision made by the DRA to suspend former participant Leighton Bennett during an ongoing investigation in relation to alleged breaches of betting and integrity rules. Modus Super Series is fully supportive of and fully cooperative with the DRA in their investigation on the case. As a DRA regulated organisation, all darts players who play in the Super Series are contractually obliged to abide by DRA rules. We continue to work tirelessly to ensure the integrity of the Super Series and the sport of darts is protected, and have multiple protocols in place to ensure that participants and all associated with the Super Series are educated and aware of the severity of breaching betting rules. We cannot comment further at this time due to the ongoing investigation. One change that the Super Series have made in the past was to start forcing players to hand in their phones when they enter the venue and then not returning them until they leave, meaning that they have no contact with the outside world and those who could convince them to throw meaningless games for a reward. When Leighton likely threw those games, his career was very different as he didn't have a tour card and high earning potential from darts, which is similar to players at the Modus who might be tempted by outside influences to make what they see as easy money. Let me know what you think about the Bennett incident in the comment section down below, and if you found this video interesting, don't forget to subscribe as I'm very close to hitting 15,000. You can also hit the bell icon if you want to get notifications whenever I upload a brand new darts video.